What's up, Macy? How are you? What's up, Tom? What's up, Cheryl? How are you? Not much. I'm interviewing Kevin John. I think we're talking about morality and possibly occult and music or something. I'm going to let him have the floor. Macy, when are you going to come on? John, get in here. There we go. Press the invite or whatever it is. Who's on the menu today? Cannibalism, right? What do you mean, rabbi? What do you mean, rabbi, Sergio? I'm not a rabbi. What are you talking about? I'm not even religious. What do you mean again? Oh, what the fuck is this, man? There we go. Alright, send it again. This is kind of getting ridiculous at this point. It's Macy, how hard it's so annoying, right? Especially when somebody doesn't know because they make it so like cryptic and ridiculous. What's up, Jay? They make it so cryptic and ridiculous how to actually get on this fucking shit. It's so fucking annoying. It really is. You know, that beard. Yeah, yeah. Well, ever since I've been in hiding and depressed, I just grew a beard to hide my misery. You know. Where is Kevin? Where are you, man? I sent you the invite. What's going on here? This is kind of ridiculous at this point. Where it's sent. Endgame EC. Yeah, I'll talk about Endgames. It's not working. I don't know, man. I sent you another one. Do you have an iPhone? What kind of phone do you have? I think it works with any phone. I'm beautiful. Yeah, it's all right. I got some white hair showing, but you got a 10-day retreat coming up in November. Oh, it sounds good. I was just talking to my friend Jesse from over here about that. Actually, maybe I will, because I got so sick last time I didn't get a chance to let loose or anything. So I just might do that actually. Hopefully, I won't get sick on the fucking plane ride down this time. But Kevin, it's really not working. I sent you the invite. It says it's sent. Fuck you, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's all right. Showing my age, though. I've been getting white hairs in my beard since I was 25. Luckily, not in my hair yet, though. Or at least the top, not really. But yeah, Macy, if you ever want to like have me help promote your events, let me know. You feel free to jump on. It's cool. Kevin, you coming, man? You do have to agree to both use phones, whatever, both get. Yeah, no, I told him all this. No, he knows that. I told him that. What's up, Seth? Only kings wear beards. There you go. You can't join. It's not. Oh, well, here. No, it's just okay. It says, yeah, approve. They're wisdom hairs. Yeah. Well, I'm chock full of them. There we go.
Jesus Christ.
Right. How are you, man? How's everything?
Uh, I'm good. I'm good. I apologize for all that stuff. I don't know why this didn't work.
Yeah, they make it crazy difficult for some reason. I'm not really sure why they
Yeah,
do that or whatever, but so all right, well,
I'm
no,
here.
yeah, he's here. He's in the building, or you're in your building and I'm in my building, but
Yep.
we're linked in a building together. So what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a bit late, but yeah, other than that, it's going great. How about you?
I'm all right, man. A little depressed, but hanging in there, struggling, striving. What country are you in?
Holland.
You're in Holland. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. No
Yeah.
wonder there's a little bit of a time delay going on. For some
Yeah,
reason I
it's
thought you were in like Canada or something. I don't know why I thought that.
Canada. No, no, no. I'm 6 hours ahead of you, so yeah.
Right. Well, I think for the rest of the world, it's pretty far ahead of America, if you ask me. But
Yeah.
but sure, man.
Yep.
What do you want to talk about? You said morality and stuff, maybe your music or whatever.
Well, I mean, I've seen your live talks with people, and you're always kind of talking with people who usually are not really on your page,
That's the
on the
idea.
same
Yeah.
page. And I don't know how you do it, but I think you and I are mostly on the same page. So when we talk, it wouldn't really be a debate, but more like a conversation. So we could probably talk about anything, really.
No, sure. Well, just to put it out there, what I'm really trying to do is I consider myself someone who's a pretty good diplomat. I can argue with people and like not get angry. A lot of people get really fucking bent out of shape and shit like that. So I like what I'm trying to do is trying to maybe like help fuse people that wouldn't normally get along like together like through my bullshitted banter or whatever. Because like I said, I don't know if you've seen how like Christian Good yelling and screaming at me, but I think I did a
Oh,
job,
I
like
love
bobbing
that.
and
Yeah.
weaving, like all right, you know what I mean. So. For the
Hmm.
most part, that's really my goals. But yeah, man, go ahead. We've talked about this for a while, so take the floor. Whatever you want, go ahead.
Well, sure. Well, you're an anarchist, right?
I am.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that, and I always had this sympathy, for that. What do you call it? Philosophy. Or it's just, this. It's not even a philosophy. It's also not an ideology. It's just something. I don't know. It's just it makes
It's
sense.
yeah.
Is what it is. Yeah. But I was always wondering what an anarchist thinks of the concept of borders. So maybe could you answer that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Sure. I was supposed to talk with Victor Prost about that at some time in the near future.
Mm.
Like when it comes to borders, well, first off, I kind of grow up on the whole idea of like a world without borders. I'm like a diehard Metal Gear Solid fan, and the whole philosophy behind that entire series is actually the main character of the series, Big Boss, is trying to create an anarchist society called Outer Heaven. Also, if you're not familiar with the Golden Dawn, the philosophy, religion, whatever you call Aleister Crowley, started like Thelema. I believe the highest rank in the Golden Dawn is Outer Heaven. It just means freedom or whatever. So I don't really understand how you could really have borders without having government, because who's going to enforce the borders? Borders aren't actually real. They're mental constructs. Like the same thing with government. Like government isn't actually a real thing. Like you can't touch a government. You can touch people that believe in government, but again, it's just an idea. Like take like the White House. That building isn't government. People that believe in government go into that building. It's not an actual real thing. That's the point. Anarchy is just what is. It's just what actually exists. And I think the reason we have all these problems is because we're trying to like change the rules of how reality works to fit not even our benefit, just the ruling elite that have enslaved humanity since the dawn of man. So I like to complain.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I mean, yeah, I get it. But do you also, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm pro or against borders. I see the use of it right now
Right
because
now, see,
I
okay,
also,
right there, the right now thing. See, that's one thing. Like, I understand why certain people want borders. Like, given the circumstances, I can understand where they're coming from, like to a degree, like Victor Prost and stuff. Because under the way things are now, everybody's so divided based on these ideologies and stuff that yeah, you got like Muslims that want to kill Christians, you got Christians that want to kill Muslims and everything. See, what I'm trying to say is to go above and beyond that, because like I'm not even really arguing now. We're so far away from where we want to be anyway that like to me we're just like arguing about what could be. But what I'm trying to say is the main problem. The reason we want people want borders now is because people were indoctrinated into a different belief system. That's why I always make fun of religious people. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you just happen to think that your religion over here is like it's any different or better than the one over there. Like maybe they're just trying to get you to fight one another. So I think like that's why people want borders. If we could just do away with the dogmatic religion, then we wouldn't need any borders, and we'd all just be like, "Hey, what the hell is going on here? They're all lying to us." So that's my idea.
mhm. Yeah, I think I agree with that. But I think, well, let me ask you, do you think that a substantial amount of people would have to be on board of that? I mean, with the idea of anarchy, uh, in order to be fruitful, or do you think it just can be done? It's a mental thing.
Well, I think everybody's born naturally an anarchist. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like, why do you think they have all this repetitive school system based on like the Prussian indoctrination camps? It's to get people to give up on their inner child. That's why, like, a lot of times, especially with Christian Good, always telling me that, I'm a child or children. Absolutely, I'm very childish and very immature, and I think it makes me a lot more creative than most people who aren't. I mean, who else is bucking jokes all over Facebook and causing? You know what I mean? Like, I am immature. So and again, it's because I think I'm in touch more so with my inner child than almost anybody else that I know. So anyway, well, the whole idea is just that they know they have to beat that individuality out of people and indoctrinate them into this. Because again, like I think most people would just naturally be like, hey, why do we need all this stuff? But because they know we're a herd animal by nature, and they know most people are afraid to, be looked at as fringe or weird, which clearly I'm not. And again, most people just go along with the program, which is why it's called the program, because they're programming people to believe that, like those people over there are somehow different than we are, where We're not. Maybe they're a shade darker or we're a shade lighter, but that just has to do with the sun and stuff. So, what's up, Amanda? We're talking
Yeah.
about a couple things. Borders right now.
Yeah.
Used to
Yeah.
work.
Indeed. Um, so uh, I lost my thread there.
You asked me about
So
do you think people naturally would gravitate towards anarchy or something like that? I think
basically that's what. Yeah.
definitely.
If they would
I
actually,
think
if they would
everybody would
know that
naturally.
if they would know the actual meaning behind anarchism, right?
Yeah. That was one of the things actually. Like I didn't like. I've actually always been an anarchist without even realizing it. Like I've been against the government since I was in my teens. Not like one of those like like I want to like write graffiti or anything like that. But if you asked me when we were like 16, I'd be like, yeah, what the hell do we need all this for? They're just oppressing us, and that's why everyone's angry and turning to alcohol and drugs and stuff. I saw it within my own father, and he told me all about how miserable he was because of these things. So I just understood that. I'll admit though, up until about 5-6 years ago, I thought the word anarchy just meant like like the anarchist cookbook. They want to like make bombs and blow things up, and I fell for that shit too because that's just all I ever heard about it. So once I believe it was Mark Passio explained that it just means no kings, and then I had one of my friends who's an English teacher who teaches English all over the world try to debunk his breakdown twice, and both times he admitted that Mark was right. I'm like, okay, well I guess anarchy is the way to go then, And most people just get like, whoa, whoa, that word sounds crazy because again, they don't want to admit they've been lied to about virtually everything, which I find very freeing.
Sure. Yeah. How would you? I mean, what is the what are your thoughts on being, when everything is basically open, just there are basically no countries anymore, basic just land, which do you what
That's
would
what it is.
happen with the
That's what
yeah,
it is now. Just in
basically,
people's heads,
yeah,
like that's
right.
what I mean. It's just in people's heads. So I'm sorry. What was your question?
Okay. Well, I was getting to that. How would you see the economy when there are no definable, definable, is that a word? I think it's a word. Uh, Countries because some people would say that's basically what communism would be, international communism. Everything is just one big blob of land, and
Well,
economy can just
that's one of those things. Like as things change, new ideas occur and everything. So like, who knows if like let's say humanity became more enlightened and just more smart in general, that somebody might come along and come up with a better idea than we've ever had, and we could just do that. See, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like I wouldn't claim to have all the answers, and anyone who would claim to have all the answers is lying to you. Things that were proven true by science yesterday will be proven wrong tomorrow. Like things are always changing. The problem is that people get too set in their ways. You know what I mean? I notice a lot of people I argue and debate with that they're extremely set in their ways, where I'm really not that set in all of my ways. Something I would be set in my ways about is like the rape thing. Like to me, that's always wrong, and it should be to everyone. But like when it comes to like like the economy and different ideas and stuff, like I'm open to listen to anything really. But I think we could probably just go back to bartering. I mean, we used to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really see what's wrong with that. But again, I think we're so far away from like even humanity, like in that state of mind, that if we ever got there, somebody would probably come along with some brilliant idea, and we could just do something like that. Also, with the technologies that exist, like 3D printers and stuff, I mean, you could just basically build whatever you want. So, I mean, who's saying we need to even trade really anything if we just all had 3D printers in our home? You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'll just print a water slide. I'll just print a gun. I'll just print. You know what I mean? So, like, who knows? I really don't know.
well, I think people would build a wall themselves, with
Well,
those things.
private property, like I'm all in favor of private property. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole thing about, if you have your house or wherever you're living, and you build a fence around there, a wall or whatever, in order to like ward off, let's say, animals and stuff or whatever, like that's fine. I'm just saying in terms of borders like that go around like the entire place, like again, like that's really just based on like the ideologies that people have been indoctrinated to. Like again, I can understand why people in today's society in America don't want people from, say, like Mexico or Canada coming in, but that's only because of how enslaved and indoctrinated everyone is. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. You know what I mean? Like again, if people just kind of got to the level of thinking that I'd say the anarchist community is on, or at least many of them, we wouldn't have all these problems. It's just trying to get people away from this idea that, like, oh my God, what would ever happen if we didn't have a government? Like, what could we possibly do? I have lots of ideas, but no one wants to listen to me because, you know, I don't have a degree that I'm still in debt, you know, $1 million for, that'll get me anywhere, you know. So that's the problem. They make everything so difficult. It's hard to get people to take me seriously. I've just been running around posting all sorts of jokes to just get people to pay attention to what I'm talking about and try to help get people like Larkin and Mark and other people more out there to a wider audience, because again, like, they're not really, you know, always for everyone. So I figured I would try to use my more like jester comedic style to, you know, just kind of get more people thinking in general, which I think is what people need to do, you know?
So yeah, I get it. So actually, what you're saying is that for people to accept, you know, that kind of society, it's actually more like doing away with the statist mindset. Like there has to be a top that rules us. You know, there has to be a government. And so as long as people still believe in that, you think this anarchist society won't happen, right?
Well, yeah, I think it's slowly happening. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say I expect to see it in my lifetime, but I mean, I've woken up quite a few people to the whole idea of anarchy and stuff. Because again, when you just walk people through the logic, you know, it's just common sense. You know what I mean? Like, when I first realized like how badly entrenched in ideologies people were, it really kind of scared me. Like, I didn't realize like how many of my close friends and everything would like run away from the idea of even considering what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, you know, one of my best friends, like this guy, you know, he basically doesn't like me anymore because I brought up the idea that Hillary Clinton might be involved in some of that trafficking stuff or something like that. You know, and he acts like, you know, I just said, hey, would you ever think about that? The guy looks at me like I lobbed a shotgun at him or some crazy shit like that. Where again, it's just a matter of people like people's imagination is extremely limited is what the problem is, which is kind of like where what I'm talking about with like how can we do this or that. I mean, if everybody had a similar mindset, like we don't need to do these things anymore, like just imagine the great possibility of what we could do. You know, people told the Wright brothers, like, you can't fly. Then, you know, the next day they're flying. You know what I mean? They've achieved quantum teleportation. They've sent light photons back in time. They've done all sorts of crazy shit. Now, I'm not saying that means that they can teleport me or you or whatever. I'm just saying, like, people don't understand what reality is. I'm not saying that I do either. But, like, again, I don't fall into this, like, Darwinist paradigm or this creationist paradigm. I don't know what's going on. And for some reason, people fear that. I find it very freeing personally. So I'm just saying, like, who knows what some brilliant inventors could create or some philosophers' ideas they could come up with if we didn't have to deal with all the constant bullshit that we have to deal with. I'm not claiming I have necessarily a definitive answer for you, and that's the problem. Everybody wants definitive answers, except the government doesn't have definitive answers either. They'll just kill you or like throw you in a cage if you don't go along with their shit. Where I'm just saying, like, hey, can't we just speculate? Can't we just like weigh ideas here? Like, what's wrong with that?
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're saying. It's so basically, I'm not saying that I don't agree with you. I mean, in an ideal world, that would have been, you know, that would have been a good start because I think we have. I mean, people just um, some people, or maybe most of them, don't even acknowledge the fact that they are being enslaved at
I
all.
don't want to
That
talk about
that
it.
that conspiracies are either a thing of the past,
Yeah,
or it's just, you know, paranoid stuff. Ah, that didn't happen, and then
yeah,
suddenly new things come to light, and then, oh well, no, okay, maybe that's true, but it's not really this new world order stuff, and then you
right.
see the steps that are being taken to lead us into it, and then it's like, well, it's for the good of the people,
Yeah.
and
And
so
like,
I mean, yeah.
I just tossed in a quick good point. This is what like a perfect example is the vaccine argument, like based on what you just said, right? Now, I wouldn't claim to know like what goes into vaccines or any of that stuff, and I don't need to. Here's why. I don't recommend people get vaccines for this reason alone. If you look at the history of what the government's done in the past, such as alcohol prohibition, them poisoning alcohol to get people sick, or the Gulf War babies, how they injected stuff into them and all that. Like, why would it be so crazy to think that they're not doing something similar now with the vaccines? Maybe the doctors' intentions are good. Maybe the doctors have nothing to do with it. But who's to say some shadowy government agency isn't just like, throwing a little spice in the cocktail or something like that? You know what I mean? That's the thing. Why would that be so crazy to think? The problem is that people are scared. They're cowardly, and they don't want to even consider things like this. Where, again, I'm not telling you it's definitely true. I don't know. But, like, when you get these people railing in defense of it, like, well, if you look at this example, this example, this example, and this example, why would it be so crazy to think they would do this here? And then they just, they never respond to me, or they run, oh, that's ridiculous. But, like, no, it isn't. You're just a weak person who's not able to entertain ideas. You're a coward. So again, I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong about most everything. But again, like, I just see what people bring up to me, and I'm just like, so, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So there's another thing I would like to ask. I'm just thinking of things as you talk. So
Sure.
so about the wall thing, the building a wall. What if there's no government and the people themselves decide to build a wall? Would you agree with that then? If that's what the people themselves want?
I mean, you could do whatever you want. Like, I'm just saying, like, like a wall, whatever. It's just that when I think borders, I think, like, what are the borders now? It's not that there are walls, really. It's just that there are men with guns there that if you step over this arbitrary whatever, they'll fucking attempt to kill you. That's the problem. Like, you want to build a
Well,
wall, build a
Israel
wall.
has a wall, so
Yeah, one or two places have a wall, sure. But again, Israel's a place where a lot of the trouble's coming from too. You know what I mean? So,
hmm
like, what I'm saying is, if we could just get people to give up on these ridiculous ideologies such as religion and government, which is the two main things that I hammer on, and I got that from George Carlin, who hammered the shit out of those things too. If people just stop believing on religion, which controls the right side of your brain, and government that controls the left side of your brain, and just realize nobody since the dawn of man has any idea what reality is or what's going on, and these people are just trying to get you to behave a certain way, who knows what's possible? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if my thinking is too far out for most people or whatever, but I am right about that. The fact of the matter is, nobody you've ever met has any idea about what reality is better than you do, or you, the next person. I mean, again, I think about these things more than the average person, so I might have a better understanding, but I have no fucking idea what's going on here. I'm just trying to do my best to be a good person and help uplift humanity and bring light to, like a dimly lit world, I guess you could say. But yeah, like I said, like, the only reason people want borders now is because those people over there think differently, and they have a different belief of some god that the same people made up, to get them fight. What's the difference between, like, countries and sports teams? There is no difference. What's the difference between religions and sports? Nothing. It's just a way to keep people divided. Coke, Pepsi, you know what I mean? Like, a Democrat, Republican, Hershey, Nestle. You know what I mean? It just one pops up, the next one pops up to get people fighting. So. That's the only reason people want borders, is because, like, generally in this country, people are afraid of the Islamists, and again, they have rightfully to be so afraid of them, but it's also because we've been bombing them for countless years now, so I can understand maybe why they would want to kill us, Can't anyone else? You know what I mean? Doesn't make it
yeah,
right,
but
but I can
yeah,
see why they're mad.
yeah, but those people have had that ideology for a really long time, even before the wars. I mean, it's an ancient thing, so they hate certain people anyway. So
So do we.
that's also another thing.
But like, again, so does Christianity, so does Islam, so does Judaism. Like, name a religion that doesn't hate everyone. You know what I mean? Like the Iraq War. I
Mhm.
bring this up to people. It makes people uncomfortable. They don't consider it a religious war, but it absolutely was. There's actually, like, 2 video clips on YouTube with George Bush being interviewed, and the interviewer asked, "Did you consult your father, as in, George Bush Sr., who died or whatever?" And he goes, "I consulted a higher father, as in God." Well, that just means that that's a religious war too. If George W. Bush is asking God if he should go blow up a bunch of people, and which, again, they never had any WMDs or anything like that, so that was a complete and total lie, which killed 1.6 million innocent people. If that never happened, they'd probably be a lot less angry. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. Nobody wants to, like, point the finger like, "Hey, it's our fault." You know what I mean? It's our fault for not, doing anything to stop this, or it's our country's fault and we shouldn't have, supported that. That's the problem. Everybody's just an egomaniac, and people will probably say I'm an egomaniac because I get, like, a hot towel shave and lift weights. But I can admit that, like, hey, yeah, I'm a part of, something that's not so great. You know what I mean? Maybe if we just looked at it for what it actually was instead of lying to ourselves to make ourselves feel better about it, we could do something here, you know? But again, it just gets people to admit, like, maybe we have been duped since we were born, and maybe we've been being duped for hundreds, if not thousands of years now. And most people just need more courage internally to stand up and be like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? I think you people are full of shit, you know what I mean? And just call it for what it is, you know? That's the thing. Everybody's running around with their MMA, this, and that, with their gang flags or their nice car. These people are fucking pussies. You know what I mean? They don't have the balls to talk like this, not publicly. You know what I mean? They'll fist fight you in a bar over a girl if you bump into them or something like that. But those people don't have real balls. You know what I mean? They're afraid what people will think of them, what will happen to them if they speak out or something like that. So, you know, like I said, I'm just doing what I can because, you know, this shit sucks. You know what I mean? Half of the people I grew up around are dead from drug addiction. Everybody's enslaved in debt, countless thousands upon thousands of dollars. People are just turning to drug addicts. They're miserable. They're alcoholics and stuff like that. And everybody's like, yeah, everything's fine, you know, as they just bottle up their internal rage and just quell it with alcohol. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I said, I'm just complaining openly at this point because, like I said, I've been running around for about 15, 16 years now. Like, hey, guys, can't we do something about this? Can we pay attention to this? And everybody, oh, Justin, you're crazy. Well, why do you think I like Thanos? I agree with Thanos for the most part. You know what I mean? Like he flat out said, "Hey guys, if you don't listen to me, everything's gonna fall apart." He was right. You know, I wouldn't necessarily say killing everyone's a good idea, but maybe you should start listening to the people that are pointing out, like, "Hey, notice how this is going wrong and that's going wrong," and there's just a string of things. I've been talking about all this stuff for years, and oh, Justin, you're so crazy. You know, I was like, maybe you're just weak. You know, so
Mhm. All right. Well,
sorry.
as you talk, I just keep thinking of things, but
Yeah, you feel free to shut
uh,
me up. I'm kind of like a passionate person, so I can just start kind of rambling.
yeah,
So
but the thing is, I'm a very good, uh, you know, I let people talk, and then, you know, for a long time, and then I think of things. So you said a lot of things there. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, what would you, if you had the authority, if I dare to use that word in this talk, what would you do in order to kind of convince people to, you know, to see things from your eyes, or, you know, philosophically speaking?
well, for one, I don't take myself very seriously, whereas I notice most people take themselves very seriously, which I think is a problem because again, like no one really knows what's going on here, so I'm not sure why everyone's taking things so seriously. Like I forget who said this quote, but I like the quote where it's just don't ever take life too seriously. You'll never make it out alive. You know what I mean? So I just try to basically, be kind of amusing and humorous and kind of put these ideas out to people. That way it gets them thinking because anything you see on TV or from the mainstream, anything is going to try to prevent you from thinking about these things. That's why everything is there to target the reptile part of your brain, which just attaches you to like physical matter and sex and drugs and stuff. They don't want people like me running around like, why are crossing guards always old ladies when old ladies need the most help across the street? Why does the game Uno require multiple players? Why not call it dog? Because then you start realizing like, hey, wait a minute, we don't need any of this shit. These motherfuckers are lying to us. And then when you learn to read symbolism, you can be like, hey, these motherfuckers are putting symbols all over the place, communicating with one another, and the only the elite really understand how this works. So again,
Hmm.
I'm just doing what I can to just get people to pay attention to some of these uncomfortable topics or whatever. In my own style. That's really all you can do. I
Right.
mean, if you have better advice for me, please let me know. I'm trying here. But again,
Yeah.
like certain people probably don't like me, or that's why like they might like someone more like you. Or for example, somebody might hate Mark Bassio's delivery, but might like my style. Someone was just telling me about this the other night. So as long as we're all working together, geared towards the same goal, that's really what'll uplift humanity. It's the problem is most people are afraid of losing what they have or whatever it is. For speaking out, or people think they're crazy and weird and fringe or whatever. Again, I just don't care. I just write jokes. I don't really give a shit. You know.
Yeah. So I've sort of been in the US for 3 months, with my fiance, and uh, the, everyone in the US, or no, let's just say the American TV, all the ads, all that stuff. It's just it for someone like me who is from Holland, seeing U.S. Ads and billboards and all these things, um, it's even it. I think it's not even legal to have certain ads, like that in Holland, because especially the ads that are about certain drugs. And ask your doctor about this. Ask your doctor. Ask your doctor. And then they name all of the side effects, including death. And it's like,
Yeah, like
so
I'm sorry. Yeah,
people
what kind
are
of
people
like,
don't really see what that they're being attacked, and that they're being held, that they're being kept stupid, because, well, I better ask my doctor about something that might, kill me, but anyway, it's just so
right.
when you try to teach people certain things, you have to take into account that they have been dumbed down a lot, and I've been seeing that in the US a lot, and I've seen some people there who are, I mean, I can see them, but they're not really there. It's
Oh
a
yeah.
really odd thing for me.
Right. They're flesh robots. That's what I mean. Like, like I like fuck with people. Like I'm walking around, I'll go up to them and I'll start be like, hey, you ever think about this? And like, based on how they respond, I'll be like, yeah, yeah, like you can tell, like these people are just hollow. It's why I attack sports all the times. Like another thing I noticed a lot of people that are covered in tattoos have no personality. You ever notice that? Like their body completely covered to distract you from the fact that there's nothing internal. I don't have any tattoos.
Oh
I'm
well.
completely, I'm completely naked of that shit. Not that there's anything wrong with tattoos, but I have noticed a lot of people try to mask the fact that they're really dull and boring with a really exciting and loud, sleeve or something like that. Or it's just like, maybe you should work on your inside instead of your outside.
Yeah, some people would say that about people who go to the gym.
For sure. I actually think some
Arm,
of these people,
armoring. Yeah.
no, I actually think some of these people that are covered in tattoos actually go to the gym. That way they have more space to actually tattoo in. That way if they get bigger, they'll have more room to actually put more tattoos in. That was a joke I was saying
Well,
with my
yeah.
friend Nico or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean that's definitely true too. But I started working out because again, like I was well, I don't even really want to get too deep into it, but I was pretty upset about some personal stuff in my house, and that led me to start lifting weights, which is one of the reasons I never cared about getting ripped. It wasn't about that. It was more about like self-defense. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of reasons and ways people go about doing that. But again, like I flat out think like 7 or 8 out of people that claim to like sports don't, and they're just empty inside and want something to do, not to like fit in with other people. Like I saw like friends of mine get jobs, and all of a sudden they never once brought up sports in their life. Now they're into football and baseball and all this stuff. In their 30s, like, hey, wait a minute, when did that happen? I'll be playing like fucking video games at night, like researching like, oh yeah, what are they into? I haven't really changed much since I was like 12, uh, in terms of
Yeah.
my interests at least.
So how do you get to know these people that you do these talks with on Facebook, who have absolutely nothing in common with you when it comes to ideology or philosophy? How do you, I mean, how do you do it? I couldn't. I mean, I I saw there once with that guy. What's his name again? Something
Christian,
good.
yeah, Christian. Yeah, I did like 3
Yeah,
of them. I'll
yeah, yeah.
probably do another one soon.
Yeah, I mean, I actually sat through the whole thing. I was like, okay, so you two are just totally not really on the same page, and still you keep on going and going. It's like, well, what do you? I mean, I actually
Well,
thought
I actually felt like that.
of
Was,
you the
you
whole
ever see?
time. So, well,
I'm
you
sorry.
can just stop anytime, you know.
No, I don't mind. See, to me, it's good practice because he's a statist. He
It is.
wants the government, and I don't. So, like, you ever see that scene at the end of the Matrix where like basically you have all the fucking Mr. Smiths coming at him, and Neo's just kind of like this. That's basically how that debate with Christian Good went. Where every single thing he threw at me, I just counterpointed immediately. Like, yeah, that goes away. Yeah, that goes away. And that's the thing. It's just an ego thing. Like, he just wants to hear himself talk. You know what I mean? Which is fine. I like the guy or whatever, but that's the thing. He doesn't actually have answers. Like he'll always like change the topic or something like that. People don't seem to ever really directly answer a lot of my questions. And that's the thing. That, like they'll go off on tangents and stuff. But again, I think the truth is very simple, and I think if you understand something, you can understand it and explain it simply. You know what I mean? That's what makes Larkin Rose so great. Like he's the best at explaining anarchy very simply. You know what I mean? Which clearly shows he understands it very well. Like that's why like I try to
Yeah.
put people onto like his videos or someone else because he's better at explaining that than I am, which is fine. Um,
Yeah,
but
but there's one thing about him, about Larkin Rose, that I think it's kind of lacking in a way, because I mean, he explains things in a very good way when it comes to the idea of statism,
yeah,
which is obvious, but he I think he doesn't really talk about the occult,
No.
stuff that are tied into it, which is I mean you can leave that to someone else who does talk about it. But I think what happens with these people is these people get a certain following, and that following just tend to hang on every word that someone is saying, and then you get all these different divided parts again, and then ultimately the whole truth is just being, just it's just becomes
Compartmentalized.
vague then.
I think the word you're looking for is
Compartment. That
compartment.
was, yeah, that was
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
actually, I know exactly what you mean, and a few people have brought that up to me recently, even. And the thing is that I actually agree with you. He doesn't really get into those occult topics, but like that's actually fine because what he's doing is to me he's the guy that's like right there at like the like at like that border or whatever between people who believe in government and don't, and he's the guy just pulling them over to this side, like, hey, still look at it like that. We need people like that. Not everyone's ready for like Passio or Michael Fessarion or something like that. Which is why I'm trying to like maybe be the guy after Larkin, like, okay, you get this now here. Here, like, look into this, look into that. That's actually why I got in that big feud with all those vegans, because for again, like, I have no problem with veganism itself. It's just that some of these people are so far extreme into what they believe. Like, you really think you're going to get the average person to just give up on the belief of government, and then you're going to tell them in the next sentence, but you can never have any animal products ever again? You're fucking crazy if you think that. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, instead of like harping on people and just attacking them outright, maybe we should just slowly like, try to influence them, and instead of like, threatening to kill their mom if they have a cheesesteak or something like that, So, that's what I think we need, is somebody like Larkin there at like that like finish line or something like that. And then maybe I'll help push them further into like Tessarion's work or something like that, into the occult stuff. Because again, I mean, it's a lot for the average person who's just watching football all day. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to get people to entertain these things. They've been so rooted in like physical 3D reality, as opposed to like their own imagination, putting themselves in situations and what could be and what probably is, that they like, again, it's a jump. Not like I was one of those people. I'm ready for anything. Like, I'm ready for something in the sky to just pull the sky back and be like, gotcha. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those. I'm hoping, but at the same time, like,
Well,
everybody has their role to play, and I don't think Larkin's trying to actually get into the occult stuff. He's just there trying to get people to believe in government, and I think that's fine. You know what I mean? Because those people that he talks to might not really be interested in all this stuff yet, that some of these other guys like you and myself would even get into. So that's why I'm trying to be
yeah,
kind of like humorous, and and try to get
yeah,
people thinking about things this way.
and that's why people need to do their own research, and everybody is saying that, do your own research, but how many people actually understand what that means? It means it doesn't mean watch one YouTube clip of someone who is already saying things that you already agree with. That's the confirmation
Right.
bias, right? So I mean, I've been into this, what's it called, red pilling stuff since 2008. That's 11 years ago now, and every time, almost every year, there's something else that kind of completely shattered my first beliefs, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's your own ego who's in a way like, okay, well, I believed that for a while. I did believe that, and now something else comes up, and it's like, oh, that's not really true. And then it becomes this psychological thing, and then that is when most people stop. It's like they search for uh, books or YouTube clips that already confirms what they
Right, right.
previously believed, and
I
then
have friends
this is
like
a
that.
process.
They're always going to the Bible for all the answers and stuff. It's just like, you're not going to find anything that doesn't support the Bible in the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, you have to look from all angles and all areas. Yeah, no, I agree. That's the problem. Is that, like, again, people want to have, they want reality to be a certain way. It's this way or it's that way. I just don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I'll admit, I find that Sumerian account thing pretty interesting. I'm not telling you it's definitely true, but again, more and more evidence keep coming out for that. And again, like, I'm not like religious about it. Like, dude, it's got it. That's definitely what it is. But if somebody presented evidence that said the opposite, I might be willing to listen to that too. I just don't know, and that's okay. That's the problem. Is people want like a definitive answer so badly, where you're never really going to get any. Even the speed of light actually isn't set. I don't know if you know about that, but the speed of light itself isn't actually set. Like, every like, I think like 50 years they measure it, and it's like different or something like that. So nothing's really set in stone. Sumerian what, Sticky C? Sorry. The Sumerian accounts. Check out the Cosmic Abandonment video. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Hmm. So would you say that you talked about being vegan and how vegans are trying to impose their views. Um, would you say that your views are also a bit extreme?
Well, which views? It's
I
not that
mean,
I
you're,
think the
you
vegan. I don't think like veganism itself is necessarily that extreme. It's the way many of them, and
it's the
again,
way
many
they
of them
they want to. Yeah,
tell me
that's true.
go about it. Like
Yeah.
when I was like arguing with them, I had like 5 or 6 vegans in my inbox being like, "I can't stand those guys. They're ridiculous," you know. And that's the problem. Again, like I'm not like a dick to people. You know what I mean? Even if you see like when I'm arguing with somebody, I'm not the type of guy that's out there like really insulting and ripping into them. I might have like a sarcastic comment or two, but again, this is why I don't get a lot of Facebook bans and stuff because I'm not like, fuck your mother, you're gonna die. Like your whore mom. I'll just say something slick and be like, all right, man, whatever, it don't matter to me. But like, what views would you say that I have that are extreme?
Well, I mean, to get rid of government. I mean, I don't think it's extreme. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's logical, to kind of work up to it, you know.
Yeah,
But some people who are very much into statism, how
yeah.
would you try to
Yeah,
kind of,
simple.
make your point?
Here's the main argument I really use, right? Uh, since at least ancient Greece, if not back further, which is probably true, we've been trying this government thing, the democracy thing, right? Every major civilization has failed miserably. It's basically in what's the word? Like it crumbled into ruins because of what they were doing. You know what I mean? So the idea that we're thousands of years out, there's constantly wars, there's constantly all this bullshit going on, constantly crime, oppression, or whatever. You just have to say to yourself, like, okay, well, thousands of years of examples aren't working. Let's do things differently. That's it. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but again, like, government isn't real. You know what I mean? Like maybe if we just like treated one another with more respect, we wouldn't have all these problems. And everybody's like, oh, that's crazy. But when you think about it, the only reason people want to treat other people badly is because of all the oppression we live under from the government already. All the constant bills and the constant problems, and like all these tickets and everything. This is why people are angry and unhappy. It's not a natural state. They keep us down in the reptile part of the brain in order to control us and make things more easily. Once people understand these things and can give up on some of these silly beliefs, they would just go away as is. It's just about getting people to understand we're being played. The two main things I try to explain to people when I talk to them in general is I bring up two real things. Is the one thing I want people to understand is this, is that the people that rule over us, like the ruling elite, the governments and religions of the world, they know how we work better than we do. And I might sound kind of foreign, but like the reason I understand that, again, a lot of my jokes are like kind of fourth wall breaking, meaning like, you're kind of like stepping away from it, looking at it for what it actually is without my like subjective opinion. So that's the thing. If you just get, I'm sorry, like these people understand how we work better than we do. So once you get people to understand that, hey, they know how to manipulate me without me understanding that, and then I'm trying to get them to understand the techniques that they use, then you just realize, hey, this is just a sham. It's always been a sham, and we can just get past all this. It's getting people to that point where, like, to admit that to themselves is the tough part, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. And that's a good point because a lot of people think it's normal, for example, to fill in all these papers or paperwork or filing a form because
Oh
when I
God.
was in the US, in my short time in the US, I saw that you have to fill in a form for everything, a
Everything.
form for this to eventually fill in a form. But before doing that, you have to fill in a form that says that you can actually fill in a form.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people say that, well, this is just it's just for safety, it's just the way it is. But it's not it doesn't have to be like this, and it's just a
Yeah.
psychological thing that happens, making people think that what they're doing is far out, just
Like the
for
TSA.
example, getting someone to actually become a citizen. It's really not that simple because we have all these laws that make you fill in these forms and you have to prove that you are who you are, and that is basically what statism then kind of what's the word? I know kind of okays. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually fucking hate paperwork. It's one of the things that started
Yeah.
waking me up to like, why do I have to do all this? Why is everything so difficult? Why is there a million steps? And people are just so accepting of this, where it's just like, this is completely unnecessary. You know what I mean? And again, it's because we're so far gone and we're so entrenched with all this bullshit. People don't even know how to think of their way out of it. You know, that's why I love how the labyrinth represents like the human mind. The brain is represented by like a labyrinth. Like even at the end of The Shining, like Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. You know that whole scene where he's chasing the kid around the maze. That's like him going through his own mind, like the whole Minotaur thing. You know. And that's the problem is that
Hmm.
you have to be able to think your way through all this bullshit you know, to really like see things for what they are, you know.
But
Uh,
what do you think of the fact that a lot of in this society, when what people call people who are here not legally, so illegal aliens, because they in this country in Holland they get a jump start because we don't have borders, right? So they get a jump start. They get all the cash, the housing, the healthcare and stuff. While actual citizens have to jump through all these hoops whenever you want to do something
yeah,
legally.
it sucks.
So what is yeah? So but do you think
I
everybody
think
should
that people
have the
should stop
chance
believing in
to
government, and
get what they're having?
well, I think if all those people that were complaining just said, "Yeah, I'm not going to go along with this anymore," and just didn't go along with it anymore, there wouldn't be any problems, and everything would just balance back out. You know, like things actually are that simple. It's just that it's getting people to understand things that are that simple. Like think about it. If everyone just tomorrow said, "Okay, we're not going to work tomorrow," just everyone was just like, "Nah," the entire system would collapse. They couldn't do anything. What would they do?
Yeah, but
Nothing.
but a lot of people don't want this to fail. They want to sustain this. They want to
Because they
maintain
thought
it
about it.
because their
No, I
lives
agree with
are
you. No, no,
yeah.
I'm not saying it's
So
easy. Getting people to do that is damn near impossible. But I'm saying, like, if you really sit and think through these things, like, that's the whole thing. Like, we could just redo everything. Like, you know, it just trying to get tough. It's tough to get people to actually like go along with it. Just so you know, I got to
mhm.
bail in like 5-10 minutes or whatever, just because my phone battery's getting low.
Yeah, mine too actually. I saw that, but yeah, I mean, meanwhile, I'm just a uh, I'm an artist, I write songs, I write albums, I
Good
have a
ones
band
too. Yeah,
with
sure.
my
Good.
fiance, which is the best thing you can ever do with your fiance is have a band, you know. So meanwhile, all this political stuff is just getting in the way of my happiness too. And some people would say, "Oh, you're just sticking your head in the sand." But no, I'm actually what those people do not want is for you to feel strong and an individual and sovereign. And whenever I'm doing some something like that or writing a song, it's like this is purely for me. This is me. This is no one can touch this, So I think what's happening in this truth movement as well is this overly this focus on everything that's wrong in a geopolitical sense, and not really trying to convince people that wait, there's something else right there. Just there's you, there's your actual soul. So that's we basically I've been really pissed last few weeks because I've seen the shit that's going on in the US as well, but just in the whole Western world,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, I almost forgot to be myself because I was trying to figure out the world, but you know what? I don't really think I will ever figure it out because it's not even my system that it's not even something that I made. So how can I possibly understand it fully? I mean, I want to understand it in the sense that I'm like an observer, just
So
like
I
just the front row seat and see the show unfold and then go home and then do your own thing, you know.
Yeah, no, man. Like I said, it gets in the way of everything. You know,
Yeah.
like I think people just should use their imagination more and like what could be possible. I think too many people have distractions on all the time, whether it's TV or music. You know, a lot of times I'll just drive around with no music on, just thinking about whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it don't bother me, and I have a pretty wild imagination. You know, and I think if more people just use their imagination more, we would create a reality that we couldn't even imagine right now. I just think it's just getting people to do that, getting past all the sports and all the distractions and stuff. And again, like you said, all the paperwork and all these other things, all these distractions to just, you know, to see like the beauty of reality that is, you know. And it's
Yeah.
just
and
unfortunate,
and
you know. So I just keep trying to do what I can. You know, I don't know how I'm doing or
yeah.
what you think of my stuff or whatever, but I'm trying. You know, I'm always asking people like, you know, what do you think I should do differently or whatever. But you know, like I said, I'm just doing what I do best and stir shit up. You know.
Yeah, and that's the thing with art and also humor because both things, you know, art and humor can either uplift people or they can bring them down and negatively, you know, brainwash them because you write jokes, you're a funny guy, aren't you? So so you try to instill thought into people, but there's also humor that you see on these nightly these talk shows, you know. It's like, oh, Trump this and Trump that, and all these white people, all these you know, these dangerous white supremacists, and everyone's, yeah, haha, that's very funny. I know
Right,
that's
right.
true. And so that's humor being used against you, and also with art, you know, when you see the pop songs on
Oh,
uh,
totally. Yeah. This
everywhere. So
so this
it's either
song I
to
the gym.
subvert or to uplift.
Yeah, no, no, definitely, and that's what makes it either dark or light magic or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you know what I do. Like people, sometimes people say like they'll be like that joke. You know, like that joke make my brain hurt, or like it wasn't funny or whatever. It's like I'm not really trying to be like ha 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 funny with these videos and stuff. A lot of my jokes are very like labyrinth, like where I'm trying to get people to think about things, like you know, and that's kind of the problem is that people want like you know cheap kind of like knock jokes or like simple shit where you know my stuff's a bit more deep and complex, but again like I just want people to use their brain more because you know the things that go on and how much have been robbed for us and they just keep up in prices and stuff. At some point someone has to say to themselves, be like, hey, can't we just do things differently? Like, why do we keep listening to these people? Like, you know, when is it going to get better? It isn't. It's just gonna, they're just going to keep making everything worse and worse until there's an all-out civil war in the country. And I'm just doing whatever I can to get people to be like, hey, look, they're causing a civil war here. Maybe if we don't listen to them, we can do something about it, you know? And, you know, and like I'm just doing what I can.
Hmm.
Not too many people are. So I'm trying here, you know? So that, but either way, you
Yeah,
want to say
yeah.
anything else? I'm gonna close out now because my battery's on like 10%.
Well, yeah, sure. If people would like to see my YouTube page, it's I'm called John Darkly on YouTube, Jon Darkly, and I've got a podcast and I have a band and all my songs are on there. So also my band with my fiance is called Undine, Undine, which is very interesting. We did a gig in the US, and it's my first gig in the US ever, so that was cool. So but
You know,
my podcast is all about, you know, speaking with people, the ordinary people most of the time, and see what they think. You know, just not these figureheads, these established names that already everybody knows about. You know, so when you know, just go to John Darkly or Ultramind on your YouTube. That's the name of my podcast, and I'm happy to have you on my show one day
absolutely,
if
sure,
you're
yeah.
interested.
I've been laying a little bit
Cool.
low lately because I've been depressed or whatever. But yeah, man, no, no, I listen to a bunch of your music too. Really good stuff, man. Like I said, so we'll definitely link
Thanks.
up again. Like I said, just give me like another month or two. The fact I haven't been able to really work out, I like strained my pec and it's been killing my mood. That's why I grew the beard. I'm kind of like in hiding right now, you know. So,
I know what
but
you mean.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, man, yo, great talking to you. Like I said, always a pleasure, man. Sorry it took so long, and you know, everybody check him
It's
out. You
okay.
know, he's got some really good music. I listened to a bunch of it. So, yo, great talking to you, man. We'll talk soon. All right.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Peace out, kid.